I'm Matt Bishard with REIT.com, and I'm here in Dallas, Texas for NAREIT's Leader in the Light Working Forum. Joining me is Mary Hogan, Managing Director and Co-Head of America's Real Estate with APG Asset Management. Mary, the Global Real Estate Sustainability Benchmark has grown significantly since being introduced in 2009. Can you tell me a little bit about APG's role with GRESB?
Oh, sure. Yeah, APG was a founding member and initially backed a study that became GRESB, along with PGGM, which is another Dutch pension fund, and USS, which is one of the largest UK-based pension funds. And since then, more institutions and institutional investors have come on board and really broadened the visibility of the benchmark.
And as a leading institutional investor, how does the results of the GRESB benchmark affect your thinking in the market?
Well, having a science-based tool that we can use to evaluate sustainability is so helpful because there are so many subjective things that go into the way many investors think about sustainability. We love the idea that we feel we've been on the early side of using GRESB and building a history of data supporting company sustainability, because we think down the road in the political environment and the environmental environment that companies are really going to have to be demonstrating these things almost it won't be sort of it will be required by the companies.
And why is it so important now that companies start thinking of sustainability in terms of being more transparent with their reporting?
Well, I do think that companies who are on the early side of it now, really understanding the issues and participating in the survey, I think that once it becomes maybe something that is required by law or a minimum requirement by many tenants before they decide to enter into a contract with the owner for using a building, I think that the participants in the benchmark will have a real competitive advantage in terms of demonstrating their sustainability and meeting the eventual hurdles.
And what are the types of things that you're looking for companies to disclose in their sustainability reporting?
Well, for us, I mean, on the listed side of real estate investing, what we really want to see is more listed companies participating in the survey, because that demonstrates to us that they're thinking about this issue. But ultimately, I think there is a common perception out there that we want all these companies to have platinum LEED certified buildings, and that's absolutely not the case. That's really not feasible for many industries and for many of the REITs. But we just want to see initially is awareness of the topic, and ultimately we want to see improvement on the topic.
And I understand that this is still relatively in the early stages, but has there been any correlation between share price performance and companies' adoption of sustainability processes or reporting?
Well, Nils Koch, who is one of the founders of GRESB, did do a study where he didn't, his findings basically were that he didn't see a lot of alpha generation like individual company, but it did reduce a company's market risk. And I think that's a pretty early conclusion. Maybe it's because a more sustainable, efficient building has less exposure to energy movements and energy prices, things like that. But what I ultimately believe you'll see is you will see it's the better companies, it's the more liquid companies with more options for their capital that are able to embrace this topic. So I think it will result in share performance over the long run, but we don't have a lot of data yet.
And you mentioned access to capital, which is one of the strong suits of the listed REIT market. Now, does that give them an advantage in this area compared to other commercial property owners?
Oh, yeah, I definitely think so. I think if you look at how companies have performed in the survey, generally globally, listed companies do perform better than non-listed companies, and larger companies perform better than smaller companies. And I think that has everything to do with the fact that while ultimately this is a huge benefit in terms of cost savings for your tenant and hopefully for yourself, the real estate company, it can be pretty expensive to implement, especially for a smaller company who just doesn't have the resources of one of the larger companies.
Now, where does the U.S. REIT market compare in this regard? I know the U.S. has kind of been behind some of the other regions of the world. Is there a sense that the U.S. is catching up, or what's your take on it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're here in Dallas for this meeting, and we have more REITs attending and participating in the survey than ever before. And I think that just the advantages these companies have of being relatively more transparent than other areas of the world and having this access to capital, I think you'll continue to see the listed U.S. real estate industry move quickly up the learning curve.
Mary, thank you so much.
Thank you.
For more on this and other REIT news and analysis, be sure to visit REIT.com.